Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be trying on a few different things from some different brands. Got a little bit of Chanel, we've got Byredo, and also some Tom Ford as well. So I've still got to put on the primer for my foundation. So I'm going to use, and I recently just repurchased it because I ran out of the other one, and that is the Chanel, it's the Le Abysse, it's the Perfecting Makeup Primer. So that's the one I'm going to use today, and I'm going to revisit. I did a video on it when it first came out. That's the Tom Ford, the Architecture Foundation, and I've worn it quite a few times since that video that I did, and I absolutely love it. It is a beautiful foundation. And with that video, I think what I used for the primer was the new Tom Ford, I think it's called the Radiance Primer or something like that. So I did one side with that and one side with no primer at all. So today I just wanted to show you what it was like using the Chanel primer. And even though I can use different primers with this foundation, this is the one that I've been using more, the Chanel one, and the foundation is just gorgeous. So I'm just going to let that primer sit for a couple of minutes and then we'll be putting on the foundation. And also today I'm going to be trying on a new Chanel mascara. Well, it's not new, the shade is new to me. It's from the Chanel Le Volume and I just adore it. And I'm also going to use the eyeliner that came out, that's that blue one, that came out with the Chanel Spring collection this year, and I'm really surprised with that eyeliner as well. I think it is beautiful. So here is the Tom Ford, the Architecture Soft Matte Foundation. Just gorgeous. And as I was saying, I did a dedicated video on this, so I'll pop the link up there if you want to take a further look at it. I also show what this foundation looks like in natural light as well. So I'm just going to use one pump, and I'll just pop some on the left side of my face first. And this goes on well using either a beauty blender, beauty sponge, or a foundation brush. So today I'm just going to use a Sonia G brush to put it on. And I've had a few people ask me, do I prefer this one or the Christian Louboutin foundation? And I think that both foundations are really beautiful. I've worn the Christian Louboutin one quite a few times. That wears really well throughout the day, and this one wears really well throughout the day as well. I'm probably splitting hairs on it, but I would say at a pinch that I probably prefer this one. And the only reason for that, and there's nothing wrong with the Christian Louboutin one, as I was saying, that is a beautiful foundation as well. This would have more of a blurring effect. Now, the other one does to some degree as well, but this one just has that little bit, just something extra. And that's probably why I would put this one over the top of the Christian Louboutin one. But really it just comes down to personal preference. The Christian Louboutin one, that is quite heavily fragranced, and I don't mind the fragrance in that one. So if you don't like overpowering fragrance in your foundation, then if you're deciding out of the two, this Tom Ford one or the other one to get, then the Tom Ford one, the one that I'm putting on today, this hardly has fragrance at all. I can hardly detect it when I'm putting it on. So now with all of the foundation on, I just love the look that it gives to my skin. It's very softening, and as I was saying, it definitely has a blurring effect. I do think it is a really beautiful foundation. Now for the concealer today, I'm going to use the Sisley. This is the Phyto one. And this sort of has more of a light towards medium coverage, but it also has that little bit of a peachy undertone, and that's why I really like this concealer. It also has skincare ingredients as well, so it's very moisturizing for under my eyes. Even though I have oily skin, when it comes to concealer, I want something that is moisturizing and isn't going to dry my skin out.
Through the night, see your house from the highway, way up high. Things are so different now, I suppose. I should get used to letting go of all I knew about your soul. So I push on through, going through the motions, nowhere close to your devotion. Feel so far, but couldn't be standing closer. 'Cause I could write an entire record about you, baby. And I'd hate the way the words would come so.
And I find with this foundation, it doesn't need a lot of powdering, but I'm going to put on a small amount. And today I'm going to use the Prairie, it's the Skin Caviar, the loose powder. And I'm just going to use the BK Beauty brush to just pop a little bit on. This is a really beautiful powder. Of course, being Le Prairie, it is fairly pricey, but I just think it is a really beautiful powder. And for the bronzer today, I'm going to use the one from the new Beiges. This is the Sun Kiss powder, and this is from the palette. This one is medium rose gold, and I'm only going to be using the bronzer today. So I'm just going to grab a brush and pop some of that on. I think I'll use the Sonia G. This is the jumbo bronzer one. So just going into the bronzer shade, just in the middle here. And I quite like using the Sonia G brush with this because it just builds up the shade just very slowly. And I don't really like a ton of bronzer on, so I do like it when you can build a bronzer up. And I think that the shade of this is just really, really beautiful. So for the eyeshadow today, now I've had this palette for quite a while and I've used it probably at least 4 or 5 times. And it's the Byredo, this is the Mineralscapes. I've just kept the packaging for it for this video. And this is made in Italy. This is a beautiful, beautiful eyeshadow palette, and there are a ton of videos on it. So I'm not going to do any swatches of it. I will show you the palette, and I think I also took photos of this in natural light as well, and I'll pop that photo up if I still have it. Such a beautiful palette. The shadows are just gorgeous. The color story is beautiful. They just blend beautifully as well. And there's some people, this is quite a big eyeshadow palette, and for some people they might think that this can be a little bit daunting, but all you need to do really, and this is what I'm going to do today, I'm going to use probably only about 3 shadows from this palette, maybe 4, but probably only 3. And it is a really easy eye look to do. And when you see a palette like this, I'm just going to hold it up. I'll hold it up a bit closer for you soon. But it can seem for some people a little bit overwhelming. And you can see here where I've tried all the different shades. Now it has this beautiful greens in here and also these beautiful blues as well. Today I'm really just going to be sticking to this shade down here and this one and possibly this one and maybe add that one there. But the thing is, with a palette of this size, if you think it's too much for you, then if you decide to get the palette, just pick 2 colors at a time, or even 1 shade. Put 1 shade on and just add a little bit of another one, and then you can slowly build up and add another shade once you feel like you think that you're feeling a little bit braver to add some more shadows. But this palette it's not scary at all. They actually blend on and go on very soft. It's just an absolutely beautiful color story. So I'm going to take the Sonia G. This is the Crease Pro brush, and I'm going to start off with this shade here. This is a matte, and you do get quite a lot of pickup. Quite a bit of pigment, but once you put them on, they actually go on really beautifully. So I'm just going to take this one through the crease and up onto the brow bone as well. They're quite soft shadows, so they just blend out. It's just really effortless. And you can easily get that really, so I've got more pigment through here, and you blend it up and get that really gorgeous gradient. They are really beautiful to work with. And then I'm going to say with the shade, and I'm going to run some of that on my lower lash line. I've got the Raffit. This is the number 3. So same shade, and just run that on my lower lash line. Then we'll take the Sonic G. This is the Builder Pro, and I'm going to go into this shade here, and I'm going to put this all over my lid. Now there is a little bit of kick up in the pan, so you just have to go fairly gently. You only need to go gently anyway to pick up quite a lot of pigment. But I find that there's less fallout, or hardly any fallout, if you just go fairly easy with the brush. You don't need to dig into the shadow or anything like that. And then just pat it over the lid. Then we'll take the Sonic G. This is the flat definer, and I'm going to go into this shade here. This one is a little bit lighter, and I'm just going to put this just through here, just to lighten it all up a little bit. So that's the 3 shades that I've used, and just like this is a really beautiful eye look. Now you could also use this shade here that I just used just as to highlight the inner corner. But what I'm going to do is I will go into a 4th shade. So I've used this one, and this one so far. And finally I'm just going to go into this shade here and just pop that in the inner corner and just give a little bit of extra lightness in there. And for the eyeliner, I'm going to use the Chanel one, and this was released in the spring collection. I don't know whether this is still available in the US. I think it was sold out. This is the one Bleu Abysse, and I didn't initially pick this up, and I finally decided to get it, and I've used it at least 3 or 4 times. So I'm going to swatch this on the back of my hand. And initially you may think it's quite sort of a bright blue and can be a bit scary to use. And the first time I used it, I think I used this last week for the first time, and I've used it nearly every day since. I just couldn't get over how beautiful it is. And in New Zealand, it's still available, I think, at one place. I think it's available at Farmers, and I think I'm going to pick up a couple more of this shade. I just think it's beautiful. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my upper lash line. I'm going to go in quite close to the lash line through here. And then I'm just going to put a little bit on my lower lash line. And for mascara, I'm going to use the Chanel Le Volume one, which is my most favorite mascara. I just love the Chanel Le Volume. It just separates the lashes and does what it says. It also gives volume. It's really lovely. And I always get this in black. And then I saw the shade Blue Night, and I don't think I've ever purchased a blue mascara before. They've sort of been a little bit off-putting for me. And I picked it up because when I had a good or a close look at the photos on the Chanel website, the shade of this looked like a really deep blue, and I thought, well, if the shade turns out to be what it's like in the photos, then this could be really beautiful. You get a hint of blue, but you still get that depth with your lashes, and that is exactly what it's like. It's really, really beautiful. So it's just the standard, the Le Volume brush, which I absolutely love, and I'm going to swatch this as best as I can on the back of my hand so you can take a look at the shade. So I've turned down the light in front of me. So this is really like, it's almost, I'd describe it possibly as a slate blue. It's definitely got that blue in there, and it's not a straight black, but it's got a lot of black in there, and it just looks really, really beautiful on. So this has actually been out for a long time, and I don't know why I haven't tried it sooner. Like I said, I just haven't been really drawn to getting a blue mascara, but it was just something about when I saw the shade, I thought, oh, that could work. So it just shows you, if you're not too sure about something, don't know whether you should pick it up or not, but you think you might like the look of it, then things are definitely worth a try. I just think it is absolutely gorgeous, and it has enough of that black in there to give your lashes depth as well. So it's not like those new mascaras that have just been released by Chanel, the pop-up ones, where you don't really get, you just see the shade on there and you don't really get much depth to your lashes at all. With this one you have this beautiful blue, but you also get that depth. It's really, really beautiful. I just cannot get over how beautiful that mascara is. As you can see, you still get that depth, so that deepness with the lashes, so you can see them, and you probably won't be able to see it on camera, but you can also see a little bit of that deep blue. It's just such a beautiful mascara. But everything that I'm putting on my face today I will have listed and linked below. So next I'm going to use, this is being newly released in the US, and this is the Tom Ford. This is the Creme Blush. Now this came to New Zealand, I think, and I did a dedicated video on it and also swatches with it as well and compared it to other blushes. I think this was around about, was it at the beginning of this year? You sort of lose track of time, and I thought it was such a beautiful blush then. And the Tom Ford logo that was imprinted in the middle, that has long gone, as well as some of the other embossing. It is a really well loved blush. It is such a beautiful shade, and the packaging of this is really beautiful as well. Now you can put this on, well, I use it, you can use a beauty blender or your fingers or a brush if you want to. Today I think I'll put it on just using my fingers. I also use the Sonia G, the Sheer Buffer brush as well, and that looks really good as well. But this is really easy just to blend out just using your fingertips as well. This is a really, really beautiful shade.
E tudo vai ficar bem.
Such a beautiful blush, and I think when I did the video I was thinking about whether I should get a backup because I loved it so much, and I never did. Or when I decided that I was going to, I went back to the website that it was available from here in New Zealand, and it had sold out. It's just such a beautiful shade. Now for lipstick today I'm going to use the Charlotte Tilbury one, and this is one of the new shades. This is the shade Fear, and this is really beautiful. I'll just do a swatch of it on the back of my hand. Really beautiful soft pink.
Direction, and fishes, they follow the flow. But what if one tried to mention that there was much more to explore?
Now I put together this combination, I think it was last week, and there was a few days where I didn't do any videos and I wore the same look. I think it was at least 2 or 3 days in a row because I just thought it was so pretty, and I was just really excited about that Chanel mascara and how good it looked. Let's start off with the Tom Ford foundation. As I mentioned, I did a dedicated video using that foundation, and I also show it in natural light as well. I absolutely love this. It gives such a beautiful finish to the skin. It is pricey, but if that isn't an issue for you, then I definitely recommend this foundation. Now, I have oily skin. Does it work really well with dry skin? I'm not too sure about that. So if you have dry skin, then probably pay to look at a video, and there are a few around now using this foundation and reviewing it. Have a look with someone that's got dry skin and see what their thoughts are. But for me, with my oily skin, it is just a stunning, stunning foundation. This Byredo palette is just beautiful. It goes on beautifully, and the color story is just absolutely gorgeous. And as you can see from the palette, I have used the greens. They are beautiful. The blues are stunning as well. And I think I've used nearly every single shade in this palette, apart from that one there, but I tend to use this one quite a lot. And the colors that I use, this one, and that one, and then this one in the inner corner, together with that Chanel blue eyeliner and the mascara, I just think is a really, really beautiful combination. Now, the eyeliner was a huge surprise to me. I thought, oh, I'll buy it and add it to my collection, maybe use it once or twice, but I've used it a lot. I just think it is beautiful. And you could go thicker if you want to with the line here, if you wanted more of that blue to pop, but I just think it looks really beautiful just in tight to the upper lash line. You can see the blue, but not too much, and it just goes really beautifully. And I know I've already said it in this video, but I am in love with that Chanel mascara. So the name of it is Blue Night, and I will list it and link it below as well. It is just absolutely gorgeous, and for my first step into wearing a blue mascara, I could not have picked a better one. It is just absolutely gorgeous. The new Tom Ford, the cream blush, is beautiful. I think it's been around in the US now for maybe a week or two. Some places have sold out of this, but I think it's still available at 1 or 2 places, and I'll list those down below for you as well, because it is such a beautiful shade. It goes on beautifully, and no matter what you use, using my fingers or if you use a beauty blender or a brush, it just goes on just effortlessly. Really beautiful shade. And I really like this new Charlotte Tilbury lipstick. It is just a beautiful pink. It's not too bright, too much of a Barbie pink, and of course the formula of this, it has that beautiful sheen, but not too much. Just a really, really beautiful shade. So absolutely thrilled with all of these products, and I think they go all just so beautifully together. Really happy with what I purchased. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.